Okay, so hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Yasu from Ecological Mean, and then we are cross-disciplinarity community exploring the interrelationality between human nature. And then today's session is about more-than-human connectivities of the mountain, river, village, and the ocean in Bali. So we're going to invite Wira-san from Bali, and then go deep into Balinese kind of indigenous culture, local commons, and regenerative tourism as well. Right. And then this session goes both in Japanese and English. So for Japanese audience, let me start some introduction in Japanese for Japanese audience. So for English speakers, for English audience, please bear with us for a while, please. はい、ということで皆さんお集まりいただいてありがとうございます。アイダラボの小林です。はい、で、今日はですね、アイダラボの、セッションでですね、バリの、ウィラさんをお招きして、セッションをお届けしていければと思います。で、アイダラボでは、人か自然かというですね、二元論を超えたところでどう世界と関わっていけるか、あるいはそこからことを起こしていけるかというテーマにですね、いろんな領域を横断しながら、生態学、エコロジーとかですね、ビジネス、デザイン、人類学、そういった領域を横断しながらですね、探求実践をいろいろな研究者の方もそうですし、各地から集まっていただいているアイダラボの、メンバーのね、皆さんと一緒に探求実践をしています。で、今回はですね、5月の24日から27日に、インドネシアのバリで、フィールドワークをアイダラボでね、各地でフィールドワークをやってるんですけど、初の海外フィールドワークということで5月に開催するんですが、それの事前セッションという形になります。で、バリのフィールドワークをご一緒いただく、ウィラさんを、お招き、してます。So, Wira-san, I'm just introducing you in Japanese, and then maybe you can just say hi to the audience, maybe.
皆さん、
こんにちは。
名前はウィラです。
こんにちは。
バリから来ます。よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. はい、ということで、ウィラさんをお招きしてます。で、あと日本側の、ナビゲーターとしては、ロングタイド、株式会社ロングタイドの永田拓人さんを、お招きしてます。はい、拓人さんよろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
はい、タクトさんはですね、もうアイダラボの本当に立ち上げ当初からずっとご一緒に参加してくださってまして、各地でフィールドワークをやってるんですけど、ほぼ全てのフィールドワークにご一緒いただいているんじゃないかというぐらいですね、生きたレジェンド的な存在になってるんですけど、今回、そういう中で、嬉しいことにですね、こうした今回のバリのフィールドワークを、ご一緒に企画させて、いただいてます。はい。で、今日のセッションですね、タクトさんからまたウィラさんの方とかのご紹介もいただけたらと思いますけども、ウィラさんのお話は英語になりますので、英語、ご不安な方ももしかしたらいらっしゃるかもしれないですけど、日本語で、タクトさんとか、僕もサポート入れるところは、サポート入れたらと思いますので、お付き合いいただけたらと思います。で、あとチャットとかですね、質問とか、もちろん英語で、書いていただいてもいいですし、あとは日本語で書いていただいても全然大丈夫ですので、日本語で、書いたいなという方は、ちょっと言語、日本語と英語とミックスして、カオスになるかもしれないですけど、それも含めて、心地よい言語でご参加ください。で、できる限りフォローできたらと僕らも思いますし、言語お得意な方はですね、ぜひお互い言語サポートし合って、英語から日本語もそうだし、今、日本語でちょっとお話ししてますけど、そこを皆さんに英語で共有したりとかっていうのも、もし、お互いに言語でサポートできれば嬉しいなと思ってますので、ぜひご協力いただけたらと、はい、思います。 はい。そうですね。で、タクトさんのね、にそろそろバトンを渡していければと思うんですけども、まあ、今回あれですよね、バリのフィールドワークのご縁をいただいたのもタクトさんからなんですけども、まあ、結構今回、まあ、バリのフィールドワークのテーマとして、まあ、今回バリの信仰に根ざした山川里海の連環システムということで言ってますけども、結構日本でその各地で間ラボで、開催してきたフィールドワークもですね、結構森、川、海のつながり、あるいはそこにこう人が再生にどう関わっていけるかという形で、まあ、いろんな連関や命のつながりっていうものを、まあ、扱ってきたり、あるいはそこのその各土地土地の気候風土を根ざした文化的な英知であったりとか、まあ、視点、眼差し、人の生き方、暮らし方、まあ、そういったところも、テーマになってきたかなと思うんですけど、そういうところと、ね、今回のバリのテーマと結構連関するところもあったりして、まあ、もちろん差異も違うところもあると思うんですけど、まあ、そうしたところのつながりとか連関とか、そうしたものも結構テーマになるかななんていうね、お話をタクトさんと、してきました。で、タクトさん、ウィラさんともね、もちろんしてきたんですけど、タクトさん、改めてもしよかったら一言、まあ、今回のフィールドワークのこととか、まあ、フィールドワークの詳細自体は、今日最後にね、またご紹介させていただきますけど、よかったら一言お願いします。
はい、ありがとうございます、やすさん。皆さん、永田です。よろしくお願いします。そうです。まあ、今、やすさんからお話があった通り、もともと私がバリに去年、一昨年かな一昨年行って、で、その時にウィラと出会ってですね、で、まあ、いろいろこう、なんていうか、向こうのバリの現地の案内をしてもらって、いろんなその、まあ、信仰だったりとか、あの、なんだろうな、そういう自然と本当に一体となったような、それがこう日常生活にこうすごく息づいているようなありさまを見る一方で、まあ、例えばそのバナナのプランテーションで、この土地がこう、なんだろうな、土壌がちょっと弱っちゃって、で、こう災害が起きている現場だったりとか、なんか本当にいろんなフィールドを見させていただいて、まあ、現実だったりとか、信仰だったりとか、本当にいろんなレイヤーで見させていただいて、で、先ほどあった通り、私自身はすごい、最初からかなりこの、間ラボだったりとか、フィールドに、行ってる中で、まあ、すごく共通点というか、があるなというところを思ってですね。で、今回、ウィラが去年また日本に来てたんですけども、まあ、そこで改めて、これってやっぱり海外編ということでやったらすごいいろんなことで、今回しています。はい。お願いします。
はい。
そしたら、じゃあ、やすさん、ウィラの方に。
そうですね。So, from now on, we start speaking English maybe. So, Wilson, sorry, keeping you wait. Like from here now on, we'll start the session. So maybe I'm gonna pass the baton to Takto-san, and then maybe Takto-san, you may wanna share a little bit about Wilson, and then pass the baton to Wilson, maybe.
Yes, okay. Sure. Thank you. Yeah, so we invited here today Wira from Five Pillars Foundation Experiences. So this is the tourism company based in Bali, and he's doing what we call like a community-based tourism. So he really makes a spotlight to the local people in Bali and tell their story. So it's not like conventional like tourism. It's more like local and people's narratives. He really admires that. So that kind of like the tourism companies that he's running. So I'll pass the baton to Wira to talk about what's their like the Balinese like beliefs, and also what's going on into the area about the environmental things happening in Bali. So Wira, it's yours.
ありがとう、ヤスand タクト。こんにちは、皆さん。I will use English, and I hope all of you will understand. I will talk slowly. And yeah, really nice and really honored to meet all of you here. So introduce my name. My Balinese name, I will just share directly the screen so you can see my name. Can you all see?
Yes.
Okay. So before I introduce my name, I would love to invite all of you on how we greet each other in Balinese. I think in Japan, I already know how to greet, right? But in Bali, you put your hands like this in your chest. So maybe all of you can try. So, and then we say Om Swastiastu. So, and then you can
Om
try
Swastiastu.
Swastiastu. Nice. So in Bali, we greeting our community with this hand, and then we say Om Swastiastu. That's the meaning is basically God bless you. So that's like konnichiwa. It's like, you know, when we meet with the community, with the others, so we use this. So yeah, so introduce my name. My Balinese name is I Putu Wiraguna, but you can call me Wira, like Wira-san. So in Bali, we use Balinese name. So I mean is for gender. So like I is for male in Bali, and for woman it will be, we put N in the beginning, like Ni. And then Putu is a bird order. So for me is I'm the firstborn. Let's say you have second-born, you have the third-born, your name will be different. And then after that, you will have given name. Wiraguna is a given name. So that's why it start from there. You know, we have so many culture identity in Bali. So that's why, you know, you just call me Wira. If you call me Iputu, it will be 1,000 Iputu in Bali. So that's why I just call me Wira. So yeah, so a little bit of myself. I'm originally from Bali, and I think I met Takuto last few years ago in Bali, where we explore, I think, west side of Bali and north side of Bali. So basically, I'm a farmer before until my 18 years old. I'm a farmer of cacao. I think, do you know chocolate, coconut, banana? I'm a farmer of that. And since then, you know, as a young people live from West Bali, I live from West Bali. There are a lot of young people in Bali. They only want to work in tourism, and they only want to work in the city. So that's why for me, you know, like at that time, my dream is working in the city and speak English. And then I basically moved to the city when I was 19 years old. And then, you know, from there, short story, I work in the hotel and restaurant. My dream is speak English, and then now I can speak English. That's my dream. And then since then, you know, growing, I saw a lot of, you know, problem, because in Bali there are so many tourism, right? And a lot of young people, they only depend on tourism. So start from there, you know, I was thinking about how I can, you know, back to my village and do something. So that's why later on I will share some of our movement in Bali. And of course, you know, because, you know, as a Balinese, I really want to protect my culture. That's why I created several movements to do that. So today I will share some of the story with all of you. All right, so start from where we are. I think who knows Bali? I mean, can you share your can you raise your hand? Who knows Bali? And then who been to this part of Indonesia? Can you raise your hand on, you know, online? I don't know if anyone know how to raise your hand. But basically, if you want to raise your hand, you just click somewhere on the what do you call that? Yeah. So later, Sakuto and Yesu can share about. But basically, people only know Bali, only Bali, not Indonesia, right? At Bali is actually in between of this really big country called Indonesia. We have 17,000 islands all around, more than Philippines. And of course, we do have population of 278 million. You can, you know, notice that, like, really big country. We have 360 tribe. One of them is Bali tribe. And we have 715 local language, such as Balinese language. And then we only use one language of Indonesia. So that's why Bali is like little tiny island in between that you can see in the middle. So we are actually the biggest Muslim country that you, I think, already read through. But only Bali, we do have only 80% of us are Hindu. So it's a very different, you know, position of where Bali is in Indonesia. So and then basically, just next slide. So basically, for the Bali itself, there's so many things, like people only know about Bali, but not Indonesia. So in Bali itself, we do have around 4.4 million community that live here, divided by 8 regencies and 1 capital city. And as I said, there are 86% of Hindu, and then they're 5,000 kilometer wide. So I think I don't know how big is it. It's actually small island, but it's quite big when you are here. So that's why I mean the culture and the people, it's totally very different with the rest of Indonesia. So I would love to share one of the most important philosophy that we have in Bali. We call it Hita Karana. I think some of you already read through. So in Bali, we believe that there are so many philosophy guided ourselves. One of them is called Hita Karana. This philosophy is basically how you can balance yourself. First is your relationship with the spirit, and the second is your relationship with the nature, and the third is your relationship with the human. So this philosophy, it's implemented in a lot of our daily life, from how we live, from how we work, from building something, we implemented this. So for example, number one, Pura in Bali, it's mean temple. So in Bali, we really connected with a spirit world, which is, I think it's very similar like Japan. You have a lot of shrine, you have a lot of temple. In Bali, yes, we do have religion, but behind religion, we do have culture and tradition that already lived since 1,000 years ago. So it's what it's mean by human relationship with the spirit. So in Bali, we use this temple to communicate, with our ancestor, with our, universe, with our, the unseen world. So that's why we do have public temple, we do have village temple, and we do have family temple. So in the family temple, there's one unique thing. When you have someone pass away in your family, you will take, after you cremate, for example, and then you will take the energy of those person and then put it in the temple. So I don't know, you get it. So basically, whenever someone pass away in Bali, the energy is still there. We kept it in the shrine because we will always get connected with our ancestor. So that's why the really important things in Bali, why we still preserve our culture, is because we protect our ancestor. So we put our ancestor in the temple and then we protect the temple. We cannot sell them. That's why, like, generation by generation, we still keep our culture because of that. So that's our connection with the spirit world. And on this slide, I just would like to share that in Bali, we do have daily ritual, daily offering. I think today, I have one friend actually from Japan just come today to a village, and then she saw this offering were, implemented in a lot of gate or shrine. It's basically a coconut leaf with arranging flower, with incense, and with some rice and snack. So this called canang sari. Canang sari, we use it every day. Every woman in Bali, they will make like 50 canang sari, and she will spread all over the temple. And what does that mean? So for us in Bali, whatever we have, that's what we offer. So let's say we have fruit, we offer fruit. We have flour, we offer flour. So first, the concept is about sharing. Second is the concept is about how we balance, what we have from, from what the universe give and what we also give to the universe. So how we balance that. That's why this one is the most simple, but the most important part of our Balinese life. So whenever you come to Bali, you will see this everywhere because we use them. And the second part is Banja is a human relationship with the human. So we have in Bali, we do have Bali governance. So under the village, we have called Banjar. I don't know in Japan how it's worked, but basically under the village, we have several Banjar. And one Banjar, we do have like 100 to 200 family. For example, this Banjar. So in every village, they do have Banjar, and inside of the Banjar, we have women community, we have youth community, we have general society, we have art, and we have health community. Let's say in Japan, we have Banjar, and you have 100 family live in that Banjar. So if there's something ceremony happen, let's say Yasu and Takuto in one Banjar. Yasu and Takuto should be go together, should be work together, and then should be helping each other in that Banjar. Let's say there one ceremony, Takuto are not coming to that ceremony. Next time, whenever Takuto have ceremony, we all not go there. So it's a very what you call strong community work. So that's why, for example, today I need to be with the community in order they also support me whenever that I have ceremony. So that kind of work, So it's a very some location is a very strong, your human relationship with the human is a very strong here. So let's say someone are stealing, stealing chicken, for example. So in Banjar, they will not bring you to the police, but they will judge you in Banjar first. Let's say you need to pay like 100 kilogram of rice, for example. So that's kind of our community life in Bali. And as a community life in Bali, so each Banjar, of course, they do have a family, right? And each family, we live in this house. We call it Balinese house. And how we build our Balinese house is using a compound. We call themselves Asta, Kosala, Kosali. It's the concept of traditional Balinese planning of the housing. So one very unique part, I think ecological meme can implement this, is about in Bali, we use our body to measure our own home when you build it. Let's say you are a tall person, your door, it will be taller. If you are a short person, your measurement will be shorter. So it will be using, let's say, your finger. You can see on this side, you will see like the floor using your feet, the white of wood using your finger, and all of so we call it biodiagronomy or something like that. So it's like how Balinese community measure their house using their body. We call them Asta Kosala Kosali. And also their hierarchical system we call trianga. For example, where is the feet, where is the body, and where is the head? So for example, for us here in Bali, our head is in the north. So we facing like mountain, and our feet is into the ocean. We facing the ocean. So similar like how we build building, we all use all of this kind of, universe clue and universe direction, and also our body. It's a very unique, until now, it's still implemented in a lot of community. And next is your relationship with the nature. So one of the really most important example in Bali is the Subak system. I think some of you already read through. Subak system is already becoming a UNESCO site heritage since 2012. And Subak system, basically a very big interconnected rice field system with the water irrigation system that interconnected with each other. So one Subak system, they contain with farmer community, also a farmland, of course, and how those farmer community and every village, they work together to spread up the water equally. So why I put the year here 882? A long time ago, before republic, we live like kingdom. I think in Japan you have kingdom, right? So we do have a lot of kingdom in Bali, in every regency all around. At that time, we only have very limited source of water. Like, let's say we only have like 3 lakes of water, right? And then because we have so many people, we have so many need of water, we fight for it. Let's say all of us here, we share 1 bucket of water. How we share it equally? It's very hard, right? You need to think twice to share the water equally. That's why in the year of 800, like 1,000 years ago, a lot of the kingdom was fighting. They kill each other because of water, because the most important at that time is the water, because we need to use the water to build our agriculture, to plant rice, to make food, right, at that time. Because we don't have water, we cannot eat, right? So that's why they fight. But since then, there one really strong king at that time in the year 800. He really, gather all of these important people and really meet and sit together on how we really build a system that can equally share the water. And at that time, the system was born. We call Subak. Subak means kasuwakan. Kasuwakan means is a community. So without community, we cannot work together. We cannot, there will be so many needs. So that's why at the time they start to build the system where a lot of this community of farmer, they work together to spread up all the water, the tunnel to Oracle Bali, and using a very unique traditional system. So they spread the water up even using finger. For example, how deep is the tunnel? You're using like finger. Let's say your finger like this, measurement is how big you can flow the water to your rice. Let's say the tunnel is this big. So how big is you can flow the water to your rice. So it's a very unique system, and they still use it until now. If you come to Bali, you will see how they divide the water canal using traditional way. So it's a very unique. And then this is the water irrigation network. So you can see they're from the top of the mountain. Let's say we do have a lake, right? In Bali, we have 4 lakes, one of the biggest also. And then under that lake, they do have, water canal to go all around the rice field in Bali. And each of these water canal, they spread up to smaller water canal from like the smaller river, and each of these points they do have temple. So that's why in Bali it's all interconnected. The temple, it will be the gate of the water, and the farmer need to come to those temple to pray before they open the water or before they get the water. So it's a very big network system. You can read through later. There are lots of research also about this. But I think when you are in Bali and you see the real, you will be really, see how it's how big and how complicated is the water irrigation network in Bali. And then the most interesting part about our relationship with the nature is the rice ritual. Can you imagine in Bali, we're not just about planting rice and after that harvest and eat, but along of the process of planting rice, we have a ritual. They are actually more than 10. Right now, we have like 16 ritual when you planting, growing, cleaning, harvesting until they're in on the picture. You can see there on the right side there are 2 rice plant, right? They put the committee put flour and put some things there. So you can imagine that ceremony is a marriage ceremony for the rice. So the farmer actually, we call it biukukung. Biukukung mean like you match the female rice with the male rice. So and they married. But the logic for us is pollination. So of course, with pollination, you will get this fruit because of pollination. If there are no pollination, we will don't eat fruit. But our ancestor actually already think about that pollination kind of word a long time ago, but with symbolization like this, with ceremony. That's why, and also there one interesting ceremony when you harvest the rice. So for us, rice is a very sacred plant because it's grow food, right? Let's say when we harvest them, we cannot just cut them. So because in the rice, we believe there are spirit there, we need to move the spirit from the rice plant to go to temple. And then after that, we can harvest them. So we don't cut the spirit there when you harvest. So that's kind of lots of a very, unique culture and unique tradition for our growing rice. But back then, it's actually their logic there, their symbolization, like how we do pest management system, how we do pollination, how we growing it better using our love as a human energy, things like that. And then this one is also very important. A long time ago, before modernization, and until now, we do use Balinese calendar. So in Balinese calendar is very different. So every day they do have a very specific spatial way of to do something. Let's say you cannot plant the rice today, but you can plant the rice next few days, for example. Or you cannot build house today, you can build your house in the good day. We call it Dewasa. Dewasa means how the Balinese find the good day to do something. Because when we don't follow the good day in Bali, we believe that we will get something, let's say bad, bad things. Actually, it makes sense. Let's say if you build house in rainy season, of course your house will not done very fast, right? So that kind of logic. If you plant rice in the past season, the bird will eat all of your rice, right? So it's a very unique concept of our Bali, because since 1,000 years ago, the Balinese already learned the ecological, experience. Let's say, oh, this month it's so hot, or this month is windy, or this month is, the bird is a lot. This month we have a lot of this, like past or rat. So that's why there are several days or moon and things like that. So the Balinese is already putting all those together in one calendar. Until now, you actually can see on the left side, their white calendar. It's still there, where a lot of the priests or the village leader usually read through that. And whenever we have ceremony or you want to plant something, then you can follow the calendar. But of course, there are a big challenge because of the climate change right now. They're changing the weather, they're changing the way how we live already, but this still exists in Bali. And then the next is, the most important part of this story is about how the connection of the sea and the mountain in Bali. So in general, if you zoom out of Bali itself, we are live between mountain, valley, rice field, and then the ocean and river and ocean. So a long time ago, the Balinese is very, very connected with all of those ecosystems, because of course, in general, we are all connected. The rain is made from the ocean, right? And then all of this is circulated, making a whole big ecosystem. In Bali, we respect all of the source, from the sea to the mountain. Every of those parts we present or we have a temple. Let's say in the valley of mountain or in the top of the mountain, we do have a temple to protect and respect the spirit and also the nature around. Because without mountain, there are no life. And also it's similar on the ocean side. There are 9 really big temples in Bali. They are located in the ocean and on the beach, where to respect the ocean as our source of life in Bali. That's why, you know, one of the most important part that we have in Bali is the culture of the sea and mountain. We call it Negara Gunung, is the culture of sea and mountain. That's why, I mean, in general, as I say about the logic is, you know, if we don't respect one of this, you know, ecological, let's say we don't respect river, we don't respect the ocean, of course, you know, they will impact us badly. You know, let's say we throw trash or, you know, we do something bad to the environment. Of course, the environment will vice versa, you know, this kind of thing. And I think I shared last time this, there one a very unique, you know, a ritual and tradition in Bali we call Nyegara Gunung. So every time, like last time, I actually have my grandmother pass away. There are a lot of ceremony happening, but the last ceremony is called Nyegara Gunung. It's when she passed away, she will be cremated, and she will be, you know, the ashes we will bring to the ocean, but the energy we need to clean, we need to cleanse, we need to purify in the ocean area. And then after the ocean, we go to the mountain. So from the ocean to the mountain, and how in the mountain she basically cleanse and then go to, you know, go to the universe, as you know, as part of the universe, which is we call nirvana here. So one of these ceremonies still until now, and I just joined it last time. So basically it's part of how the as a human energy, you will go back again to nature. Let's say we pass away, you know, we are built from, you know, soil, we are built from water, we are built from air. So we as a human body, we need to go back again to the nature. That's our belief. That's why the Negara Gunung ceremony is one of the part of the most important. And next is Melasti. So in Bali, I think you heard about Bali do have a silent day, right? So silent day is happening every year in Bali. So silent day basically 24 hours you cannot you cannot go out, you cannot work, you cannot, you know, having fun, you cannot be loud, and then you also cannot light a fire. And there are 3 days before this silent day, you need to also cleanse yourself. And also on the picture here, the lots of Balinese community will go to the ocean, bringing the what you call the shrine to cleanse them from the mountainside to the sea. So this one is also very important ceremony before we experience the silent day. We need to cleanse ourselves. That's the meaning. And this one also is one of the most what you call one of the most interesting ritual and tradition. We have ceremony for plant, and we have birthday for plant, and also actually animal there too, animal and plant. So we call it tumpuk udu. So I still remember when my grandma's still alive. So she always, you know, put this like little porridge to the coconut tree. She put it the porridge to the coconut tree with hope that coconut tree, we respect them as a nature creation, and the coconut tree will also grow well and also give us, you know, the nice harvest. So that's kind of, you know, regenerative way of we respect each other in the nature world. So in the reality, we do have this every year where, of course, you know, after this ceremony, we need to give the fertilizer, we need to treat the plant nicer if we would like to have nice you know, harvest, for example. But it's not just about, you know, coconut, but it's all kind of tree. So this ceremony is such an important ceremony because there we really connect, you know, they are also a living things, you know, they have energy, they have soul that we need to respect. It's not just about plant, it's like, you know, they just stay. But for us in Bali, plant is also a living things that speak to us. when we speak to them, we bless them, they also will help us out. So that's kind of, two ways respecting. But there are a lot of, actually there are so many Balinese culture philosophy that, that I actually really want to share today. But of course, because of the time, I later on, I hope you also can learn more about Balinese culture. But there is a challenge that we're facing in Bali. It's not just about the beautiful stuff that you can see in Bali. So number one, the biggest challenge is, of course, the over tourism. I think a lot of you already know Bali because of the tourism, right? People come to Bali. Yeah, you can do, like beachside or surfing. It's totally fine. But what's happening, because a lot of people come to Bali only having fun, a lots of, not responsible company, they bring too many guests that, that not responsible. For example, we have a lots of international and also local, even domestic tourists. They bring a bike without helmet and they crash people. And there are too many traffic, the trash, and also offer development. To be honest, as the Balinese, I'm super sad to see all of these things happen. That's why, today I just would like to share with you what we can do, together. Still, you can come to Bali, but in the most respectful way, not to destroy the island. And the second really big problem also outside of the busy tourism in Bali, it's also, there are lots of things happening in the village. For example, one of them, there one big uh, forest in West Bali that's actually need to be protected, but a whole area becoming a banana plantation. So I think it's already started in 2012 and 2013, where a lot of this community, they lack of money, right? They trying to, when they plant banana, let's say in their field, they feel like they can harvest a lot, and then they see opportunity where they can plant the banana in the forest, and they starting to plant the banana in the forest and starting they chop little tree that should be protected the land, right? They starting to chop little tree and then they plant a banana, they plant coffee, and beside that, banana and coffee, they cannot hold, the soil harder. They are also not balanced with the ecosystem in the forest. By the time, because of, the village corruption and things like that, until now, there are, 300, more than 300 hectare was chopped down just to plant this banana. And then I think last few years ago, since 3 years ago, really big flooded coming from the north. You can see on the picture, there are lots of big wood was flushed away to, to crash all of these community houses. Because of what? One of the word is about consumerism. If you can imagine, the banana that we eat, some of the banana that we eat, it's actually come from this farmer where they chop down the tree. That's why, it's a very sad story where, when we think of, their food, but suddenly this food is came from really bad source. So that's why with this problem, the big message is about whatever that we eat, at least we know where it's from, so that we understand how it's made and who is made, things like that. And from this case, there until now is our friend who has actually become the one of the local hero. He's starting to on how educate these people, because let's say you said about, oh, stop to do it, but these people still doing it because they need money, they need income. But if you say stop to do it, you need to have alternative economy, to protect this area. So I think Takuto last time been here, seeing real things happening in Bali beside of the tourism happening. And the next is about chemical use. I think, you heard about Subak, the beautiful of Subak system, right? They are actually amazing. Subak system is best. This is natural pest management system. But you can imagine, since 1970s, since I think in that year, our government introducing program called Green Revolution. I don't know you heard about Green Revolution. So Green Revolution is where the government introduced the pesticide, introduced the GMO seed, introduced all of this kind of, chemical fertilizer to the farmer with hope that, oh, here's the seed, here's the, please plant this type of rice, and then you can have a good harvest. But suddenly, you know what's happened? Maybe first, second year, our farmer got really good harvest. We have really good rice and we can sell it outside. But next 5 years, the soil starting to very, very hard and very, like it's hard to plant. The rice starting to low harvest. And then people use more and more chemical. Let's say at that time, they were, like some insect coming, and then the farmer used 1 cup of chemical pesticide to kill the insect. But when that's, and then when there are more coming, they put more of cup of the pesticide, and suddenly it's kill everything. It's kill bees, it's kill, like here you can see the bees is killed, the soil is dry. It's a lot of impact since then, so that's why, yes, it's a mass thing is good for big production, but in the same time you kill the ecosystem, you kill the the ecology, what should be there. That's why this is like one of the really big issues in Bali. But right now there are lots of local heroes that trying to bring back again how the nature is work. And the last problem that I really want to share with you is about the water crisis in Bali. In Bali, they're a very small island, right? But we need to have 3 million liter, use of water for tourism, like the villas need to have water, like pools and option of resort, things like that. And since then, there are 260 river already dying out from 400 rivers in Bali because it's drying up. And then the saltwater intrusion, because the higher of sea level, and then a lots of groundwater use in Bali. So that's make the saltwater intrusion are impacted some of our shoreline in Bali. So we cannot really fill the fresh water anymore. So from here, we really facing really big challenge for Bali itself in the future. But of course, we believe we can do something for it. There are big challenges in front of us, but of course, we cannot just wait and then see, but what we can do. That's why part of my work in Bali, I built one social enterprise called 5 Pillar Experiences. So basically, 5 Pillar is a social enterprise that are focusing on, of course, sustainable tourism. And our primary goal is creating, impact travel experiences, but in the same time, how we can supporting local initiative. Because the key here of all of this issue is the people. We cannot blame anyone, but what we can do better for the land, of course, with the people. Because when the people have a good mindset, good stomach, good income, they will basically will think about how we can build a good, system for our nature. So what is the 5 pillar? So the 5 pillar is basically a philosophy that we implement into every of our work. Here, they are a community, they are people, they are environment, their education, which is the knowledge, their culture, our how we live, and their economy, the income. So the point of this philosophy is about like this. Okay, you can help the environment. Okay, you can, collect trash, but in the same time, how you also can make income. Let's say in the village that we work, there are a lot of community, they only collect the trash, they only work with the environment, but they don't have income. They cannot influence the community. There will be no a sustainable movement. At the same time, also with the economy, when you only build business, but that business actually, harm the nature, or you make a lot of chemical waste, it's also really bad for the environment and it's not sustainable. That's why the philosophy is how you can build a movement, how you can build a good business. In the same time, you can help people. In the same time, your movement also supporting the people, culture, environment. So that's the philosophy that we implement. Like Hita Karana, I think you learned about people with spirit, the culture side, people with people, the community side, and people with the environment. But where's the education? Where's the economy? That's why we need to upgrade them. We need to really think about, the economy is also important to move this wheel, things like that. And of course, there are lots of things that we creating here in Five Pillar, from how we can build a meaningful connection between the local initiative with the global initiative, how we can build education and awareness in terms of environmental challenge and culture, how we can also support each of this local initiative, that we work with to that facing this challenge, and sustainable preservation. Let's say next 10 years, you come back to Bali, or I can come back to Japan. It's still like that. There are none really big changes, but the culture, the tradition, the good tradition is still preserved. And carbon neutrality, because we speak a lot about, we fly to Bali, we fly to Japan, we use carbon and how we can neutralize. And then, of course, how we can build responsible travel. So that's why we are very unique in this area, and how we can, build this movement. And one of the most interesting part in our movement is the local hero. So I think you saw lots of problem right there. Those problems, we cannot, of course, solve it, by yourself, or solve it by myself. It's a big problem. We need to have a lot more people to involve in the movement. Of course, I did, I think in 2015, I met with so many local community in Bali, from organic farmer, from sustainable educator, from turtle conservation, from HIV, reptile rescue, disabled empowerment. So all of these people, they have the key of the solution, Let's say Winda on the left side, she is a young farmer, and then she basically trying to motivate another young farmer to plant rice in her village, for example, because now we do have young farmer. We don't have young farmer in Bali. It's a very, very rare become young farmer here in Bali. And then Agnes, for example, she built a sustainable school on how she teach local kids on how you do, like, let's say, natural color, or how you make vegetarian food or healthy organic food. 6 years old kids, they plant their vegetable, and then they harvest it, they cook for their parent, they sell it. So it's a very unique concept, for example. So again, for us, the most important movement is the people. How we can move these people to have more bigger movement in Bali. So that's why our movement is about how we can connecting dot. That's why today you experience, this session with how the ecological memes with Yasu and Takuto, we kind of connect as a global community with the local initiative through any kind of movement. This is also part of the movement, how we can share the story, how we can also share the word. So that's why in the future, how we can collaborate more to, of course, inspire each other, and of course, creating big sustainable impact. And right now, for example, one of our interesting movement, it's happening in North Bali. So we built, they're one of the village in North Bali, they still actually, we call it ancient Bali, before Bali becoming Hindu. I think I show you the temple, right? The temple here in general, they built by stone, they built by, a building. But in this area, the temple, their temple is a forest. Their temple is a tree. Their temple is a whole big forest that they protect right now. That's why for when I'm becoming, when I coming to this village, I was shocked, why people are praying to the tree, why people are respecting the forest, because it's the most important things there for the water source. That's why we build this learning center in North Bali, basically to educate the young generation on how they can protect this tradition and things like that. So this is also one of the most important part of our things in North Bali. And then, of course, as we saw, there are lots of problem in Bali. Of course, behind of that problem, there are lots of people, there are lots of local hero that they're trying to do movement. One of the local hero that I really would like to share today is Putu Bawa. Putu Bawa is basically a permaculture activist. He also building a forest learning center in West Bali. And right now, he also becoming leading water protection, Bali water protection movement, where he educate lots of our generation on how to protect water, how to build, good forest. And also he's the one that, against the farmer who chopping down the forest in West Bali. So even last time me with Takuto, we planting the tree there and seeing really huge problem happening in West Bali. And the next is Guntur. Guntur is the person who actually came from the village of North Bali, the ancient village. So he actually saw a lot of problem of bamboo are becoming, low material. Because in his villages produce a lot of bamboo weaving, and a lot of women don't have any job. That's why right now Guntur actually he's starting to protect and preserve this bamboo community. And also while he educate a lot of this community to plant bamboo, because bamboo is protecting the erosion soil and also absorbing lots of carbon dioxide, things like that. And the last one
Wira-san,
is
Wira-san, is this the Gunta-san we are visiting fieldwork or different Gunta?
yes, totally. So
OK.
Putubawa,
じゃあ今のグン
yeah,
ターさんのところ、フィールドワークでも訪問します。
thank you for asking. So yeah, so Putubawa actually you will meet in Bali when we have the program. So he will share lots about Bali Water Protection Project, and of course he will share about the challenge of his movement. And then Guntur, actually we will meet him in North Bali. We will stay in his house with the family. And then, we will learn about how his village is actually praying or respecting the nature, or, the temple is their forest. So we will see that there. And of course, we will see his movement of bamboo craftsmanship, things like that. And the third one, Bayu, is a mangrove hero. So he leading a community with, with mangrove fishermen who fishing like crabs, and now starting to protect, the mangrove area of South Bali. We also will come to see him, to meet with some fishermen. We will eat together with some fishermen, and we'll, to do the canoeing in southern part of Bali and learn about the ecological mangrove there. So that's why I think Yasu and Takuto already mentioned, right? We will have exploring this ecological insight for a co-thriving future in Bali in May 24 to 27. And of course, if you would love to learn deeply and also engage with the community and local hero, and maybe also meet with them, and also we will have a professor coming. You also can check out, and you can ask Takuto and Yasu later about this program. So yeah, so that's a little bit about the story, and I hope that it's it's a good things for you to hear from Bali and the story. And now I will offer to Takuto and Yasu.
Great. Great presentation, Wira-san. Thank you so much.
Mature Sakam. Kam.
Matur suksema.
Mature Suksuma.
Kusuma. Kusuma. Mature Kusuma.
Great. I think there's a lot of information that we from Wira. So we're opening up our dialogue to the overall people. So if you have like a questions or clarification or あとはもしこのスライドもうちょっと説明してほしいみたいな日本語付きでみたいなのがあれば言っていただければそういうちょっと通訳しながらみたいなこともできますのでなんかそういう形でご質問だったりとかがあればぜひよろしくお願いします。
質問いいですか？
はい。
Of course.
Wara-san, thank you very much for your talk, and it's very impressive. And I have two questions. And one is about, I remember you said human energy need to go back to nature. So I'd like to know more about it. And second thing is the situation of the water crisis. So how serious is that? And then what's the situation of the local people to get water? So I want to know these two things.
Can I answer directly, Yasu and Takuto?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Arigato, Tomomi, for your question. So the first is about human energy. It is, in Bali, we believe on those, we are owned by this universe, right? We part of it. We are all connected. So that's why whenever we are passed away, we don't use this alive thing, which is our energy is separate, which is we pass away. It's need to be going back where it's from, which is the source. So they are one ceremony, not just ceremony. They are our belief. So let's say when we pass away, so there are, I think, 4 elements that need to go back to the nature, right? The waters, right? The soil, the air, and the fire. So all of this is in our body, and that need to go back to the universe. So there are one ceremony in Bali with that, and then this is the what you call the energy that you can see, right? Like my body, let's say you can see me, but there's the energy that you cannot see, right? The unseen energy. So the unseen energy is like your soul, right? Your soul is still alive, so that soul is also need to go back again to their source with also their part of ceremony like the Nyagara Gunung, the mountain to the ocean. So first, the soul need to be cleaned, need to be cleansed before it's go back to the source. And then why we bring them to the mountain? Because the soul is located in the mountain. So the source of everything is from the mountain. That's what we believe. Because I think, in the logic, a long time ago when this earth created, we have a lot of explosion, right? From a mountain, and the mountain give all of this, carbon dioxide and all sort of thing to live, right? So it's a similar concept for us in Bali. So we need to bring back the soul to the source of life. So, and then the next question is about water crisis situation. So in Bali, I don't know why, the climate change is also impacted us very big, with regard of the weather, with regard of, the water system. So there are, I mean, to be honest, there are not really big impact yet with the regard of the water. It's only got impacted if you stay in the mountain area. So let's say if you mountain area, and also the shoreline. In the mountain area, because some of the mountain are starting to lose their forests, so they lack of water there. And then some of the area in the shoreline, if their water raising, and then they're starting to have this incineration. Well, I don't know what to call that. Incineration, the water, salt water the fresh water becoming salty. But the case is only happening not that a lot, so only some villages. So, but in general, because of the changing of the weather, we got a lot of rain, quite a lot of rain, and that saved our water source this time. But again, we have concern that let's say we don't have rain for 2 years, we will die. So we will basically don't have those. That's why Putu Bawa, I think the person that I shared to you, he built a concept on how you can protect the water, like let's say a rain catcher, on how this water can live for 1 year long for you, for example, when you have these things like that. So that's kind of the situation now in Bali.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
So can I just go a little bit deeper about the like human energy and the source you mentioned?
Sure, yes.
Yeah. So when you say source, or like all energy is going back to source, is that concept is commonly shared in your like kind of old community in Bali, which means kind of related, very kind of rooted to maybe like Balinese Hindu or something. Is that, I mean, like in Japan, like some people feel that sense, but not strongly commonly shared at this like moment, like today. It kind of be getting like a traditional concept, or maybe some people kind of awakening to that kind of concept. I really like it. But what do you think the situation in Bali?
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Yasu, for the question. First of all, it is actually commonly shared. Even, I think 1 week ago, my mom is attending, part of the ceremony, and she said the soul is already going back, kind of like that. So it's a very common if you live in the Balinese family, because the storytelling is generation to generation. Because why we need to believe on this thing? Because if we don't believe on this thing, we will lose the connection between the ancestor and us. And in Bali, we are strongly connected with it. That's why when we cleanse the soul, we give back to the source. So it still get connected to ours now here. That's why when the elder are share something about, the soul is already going back, or the soul is already cleansed. So it's commonly shared in our community.
Interesting. Thank you. And then one more question about it is like in Japan, when we think about cleansing or like kind of purifying, like we traditionally use salt and to purify the energy, like traditionally, and even today. Are there any kind of like material connection with that concept in your like culture?
I think it's very similar. To be honest, like the cleansing that I shared to you earlier on the picture, it's also they need to meet with the salt water. And also their one culture, even me, whenever we have our house is really bad energy, so we cleanse them using salt, and it's actually work, and it's make the balance of the energy in the house much better. So I think we got a very similar connection between that story. I mean, in Bali we practice those things also. Not what salt is one of the most important, because even me, whenever we have like silent day, after silent day, the Balinese will need to go to the ocean to cleanse yourself, and then just swim and then cleanse yourself. So which is mean you need to touch the salt water at least once a year to cleanse yourself.
Thank you so much. Then Ayumi-san and ゆうこさん is also handing up.質問、この関係する質問ですか？それともちょっと違う？関係する質問。ちょっと違うか。I think like 高井さんの質問ちょっと関連するかな。ちょっとそのまま行きましょうか。高井さん maybe you can ask about the harmony with God, maybe in this context.
Okay. So I have two questions. In the beginning of your slide, you mentioned about three ways of wellness. And one is harmony with God. And for the God you are mentioning, is it a Hindu God, or is it a local Bali God, or does it mean my personal God, which is maybe a Japanese God? But when you say God, what are you mentioning for? Is my first question.
Thank you for the question. So again, different person we have different perspective. Hita Karana itself is about philosophy that we have in Bali, that the God means the universe, the creator, you know.
Okay.
But of course, you know, inside of those belief, we do have personal belief. For me, it's a universe, right? But lots of Balinese, of course, they will believe into, you know, we call it creator, like creator, which is, you know, we call them God, of course, and they have form and things like that. But I think the original one, it's about the spirit, the what you call the unseen world. That's the kind of connection.
So it's more, is it an abstract concept when you say harmony with God? Okay, thank you. My second question is about the 5 pillars. Now you mentioned several critical challenges that you're currently facing, like over-tourism and chemical use. And for the resolution, how are you balancing the high-tech resolutions and natural-based traditional resolutions? Because sometimes high-tech solution may have a faster resolution. And how are you balancing those two kind of resolutions?
Thank you for your question. So right now, they are, I think there are more than 5 local heroes. They are working into not modern technology, but there are some really good technology for starting to have, like, let's say, to measure the water, groundwater and things like that. So for me, what I can say, it's about we are starting to find out, you know, the innovation in terms of how to solve those environmental problems using the modern technology. We are open. We are really open with it. We don't close ourselves. Oh, we need to solve it using traditional way. No, of course, you know, we still protect the essence of our culture. We still need to protect the essence of, you know, the Subak system. But again, maybe with the technology, of course, right now there are lots of organic movement, like organic pesticide, you know, like all of this kind of microorganism, you know, movement. I think that's going to help us out. Yeah, you know, like with also the modern technology.
Okay, thank you very much.
So maybe Amy-san or Yuko-san is gonna ask a question. You're writing a hand.
I have 2 questions. I wrote in Japanese in a chat. So you explained maybe tendency that local people need income. You explained to us, I think you explained with the example that they need to open the forest to plant banana tree, etc. What is the main reason or main background the local people need income? I mean, beforehand, maybe their local economy work in a harmony way, but what is the background that local people need extra income nowadays?
Okay, thank you so much, Ayumi. So I will directly answer. Okay, so since modernization, so Hita Karana will work before the modernization. That's what I can say, which is mean, let's say you are living in this village, right? And then you have actually just normal income. They're already good, actually. But let's say your kids is asking, Ma, I want phone, I want bike, I want car. Then, which is mean you need to have more money. Then where to get more money? Because you maybe have only one land that, having this. But, and then, their greediness coming out of that because of the lack of education. That's the most important word. So when this villager lack of education, then they starting to greedy because of consumerization and modernization. They starting to explore another way that they think is good, but it's actually it's not good. So that's why in West Bali there are some villager. They use this forest because they thought about, oh, forest can plant anything because it's also protecting, but they don't educated about that. And then it's starting to making this huge big impact problem. So it's all interconnected, right? That's why I mean I cannot I don't want to say they're poor. They are not poor, but they are greedy. They want to have more things because I think there are some villager, they are educated, and I think they also making good income out of farming, but because of others is trying to have another way of farming. I think that's what I can share.
Right, thanks. And second question is about your 5 pillars activities. You explained several heroes. Who is the main target group? I don't know, is it a good way to ask a target, but are you, no, this Mr. Putu Bava or Mr. Bayu, they are taking care of the mangrove or planting trees. Do they support local farmers? So that is a target group, or do you invite outsider to take part in these activities? What is the main target group of these activities?
Thank you so much, Ayumi. I think I haven't shared that in the slide because the slide is just for a very brief introduction about us. But again, back 5 pillar experiences, we call them social enterprise, right? That working on sustainable tourism. So we work with a lots of, we call it global community and also local community. Global communities similar like you guys here. So where we often bring them to Bali to learn about this concept. In the same time, we supporting the local initiative. So our target group, we do have several. First, we work with a lot of university students. Let's say we host like Kyoto University, Osaka last time in Bali to learn about this kind of concept. And we also work with company, NGO, and then, like sub-agency to also opening, a lot of this kind of collaboration. In the local part, our target is the local initiative. Let's say like Pak Putu Bawa, Bayu, the Mangrove Hero, how this local hero, they also can inspire other, not just about their community, but also they can becoming a pioneer, they can becoming a role model, they can becoming an example for others. For example, me, I'm inspired because I learned from one of the local hero who creating a school, for example. So there are a lot of young people need that, so that's why it's a both side. In the global side, that's how we make income in the 5 pillar. In the local side, that's how we trying to solve the problem together. So that's how you. Thank you.
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Related with that topic, maybe Yoneda-san, you can start with question 2 about the future tourism.
Right. It's a bit provocative question, but you counted over tourism as one of the challenges. And you yourself are also engaged in the tourism, although it's a sustainable one. But what do the people in Bali think about the future of tourism?
Thank you so much, Yuko. It's my favorite question. So it is, Because I live here in Bali and I watch by my eye, the tourism just badly impacted the island itself, from lots of, way. So I cannot just watch, right? I cannot just stand there and watching everything is changing. That's why I trying to do my best on also at least not changing, not solving the issue, but how to make it better. Because the tourism only impacted certain, greedy people, certain, investor. Why not? This tourism is also can be really big impact and positive impact for the local community, for the nature also. That's kind of shifting the idea. It's not about, okay, the tourists, you cannot come to Bali, you will destroy the island. It's not about that's its work. But again, we still work with some international community who come to Bali, but in the same time, how this can be shifted into a more impactful areas. And then, sorry, what is your next question is again?
But before moving to the next one, I'd still like to stick to this this
Sure.
question.
I mean, you were saying about, okay, are we part of the mass tourism, right?
I'd like to challenge you a bit more. I'd like to challenge you a bit more. I do understand that sustainable tourism is the way to go. But still, like looking at your slides and listening to your presentation, it also sounds like the number of the tourists coming to Bali is exceeding the carrying capacity of the island. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally. So I compare, of course, some country, for example, Bhutan. So of course, myself are starting to talk with some leader here. Of course, most of the big challenge will solve with policy making, of course, But of course, myself are not into that level. It should be in the political level and things like that. But again, our government now starting go toward, how they can, build more quality tourism. But again, myself, I'm super sad, with the government, they really cannot really discipline on how we can, build the boundaries. Because the other island of Indonesia also really have lack of tourism and things like that. But my biggest hope is how I can build this quality of tourism that, of course, the tourism that you said is over exiting, not just in the southern part of Bali, for example, but they also can be building the good impact in the other side of Bali. Because I think all of the tourists that on the number, they only stay in the southern part of Bali. Like last time we are explode when the new year is happening, and that's not good for the island itself. But of course, that can be changed if we have really good policy making, really good government management, really good master plan, and we are not there yet. So I think I hope I have a friend who can speak to the government to do this, but of course I don't have that capacity yet. I only can do this educational tourism, we call it, or regenerative tourism that we call it, with the local initiative.
Right. Thank you so much. My next question is about the Subak system. And you mentioned earlier that there's a water crisis ongoing. And it's because of the deforestation in the mountain area, because of the climate change. I'm just curious how it's impacting on the traditional Subak system. And also, like, yeah, as I understand, the Subak was really the way to build community in a way. So I'd also like to know what's the impact on communal relationship.
Thank you. So in terms of Subak, the biggest impact right now that the farmer are feeling is, of course, the climate change. So let's say the calendar that I shared to you is starting to change the way how it's worked, because the date of rain, the date of dry season is changing into that way. And also modernization. Right now in the modern era, everyone using phone, right? The farmer already, starting to have all of this kind of information, and they starting to have, not all, but there are few farmer close by the city. They starting to do individualized, individualized mean, they, let's say they have a land, rice field, and then they work as, doctor, they work in the hotel, and they work somewhere, and then this land will take care by, I don't know what you call it, like helper, let's say. So it's not by himself as a farmer, so as a helper, and this helper will get, some amount of rice at the end of the day. But again, it's in getting individualized because, this helper will use, like machine to get the water, and, maybe they create their own source of water instead of they joining Subak, for example. But what I can see when I exploring Bali in general, Subak is still the most important way on the community work for the water system, because they still relying on this water irrigation, because not all can buy machine, right? So that's why they still need to be in the community to have this, water, and to have this, the natural pest management system. Because in Bali, I think, when you plant your rice only yourself, the bird all will only go to your rice field. So that's why you need to work together to plant together the rice, so that we still spread up the bird. It's not the bird who will only eat your rice field. So that's kind of, way of Subak system is still implemented in a lot of villages in Bali. But that's kind of the situation here now.
Right. When you say individualized farms, where do they get water from if they don't join Subak system?
They are digging the ground. They're using the groundwater, but that is actually not good, because I think that because of the modernization, they are busy, they only pay someone to do that, and then at least their farm is going around. So I saw it, but not a lot, only a few people where they have money, they will dig the ground, they get the water from there, and then they have their own price without they joining the community. But sometimes, in the villages side, like, 30 minutes away from the city side, they still need to be part of the community, even though they have money. So it's kind of, the community is still there.
Right. Is it also part of the cause for salt water intrusion? Is it also causing?
Yeah. The groundwater consumption is also causing the saltwater intrusion. Yeah,
Right.
like in Jakarta, for example, I don't know, you read through, because a lot of people are dig the ground and get the groundwater, and then the land's a little bit sinking, and then the saltwater intrusion is happening.
Right. So that's not only the tourism.
Yeah,
Okay.
not only the tree, because a lot of people here, they I don't know why they like to dig a hole. It's since the Dutch area, so we like to have a well, and then they dig a hole and they get water from the ground. So that's kind of the culture. I don't know why, but now the government is starting to strict with it.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yuko.
Okay, I think we have Takai-san, and after that maybe we can go to the breakout session, like for 5 minutes, to kind of like maybe some like a small dialogue. So Takai-san, please.
With the dialogue with Yoneda-san about the over-tourism, do you do some kind of regenerative tourism that the visitors help you with the water passage, or helping the soil, improve the soil quality, which Yas-san is doing here in Japan? Do you do that kind of a fieldwork activity that tourists to contribute to Bali?
Thank you so much for raising up that. That's totally what we do.
Okay.
Like how you really experience what the local initiative are experience. I mean, also you can say you are a traveler, you come to Bali, you having fun, but at the same time you also learn something and make impact. That's our
Mm.
key. So when we say make impact, you can join the activity. Let's say, I think when we come to Bali, Takuto and Yesu come to Bali, they will spend a day in this ancient village where they can join the activity of the local hero who starts to trying to protect the bamboo, and we can help the mothers and things like that. So we trying to do that more and more, because you know, there are lots of tourism in Bali. They only think of, you know, they come to the place, they take picture, and they go home. That's not good. You know, we need to create a way that still you can go to the beautiful place, to beautiful people, meet, you know, like eat good food, but at the same time, how you can really creating this impact for you and also for the people and for the land.
Okay, thank you. Great.
Yeah, I
Okay.
really believe that's a kind of one way, kind of way to kind of, you know, toward like future tourism. It's not only about like, you know, consuming like tourism, but also how we can get into the connection and dive deep into the, you know, culture and local, and then somehow we can, you know, cultivate the relationality there, and then may kind of contribute somehow. Yeah, co-learning together. Thank you. そうですね。今、ツーリズムのね、ことについても結構いろいろお話がありましたけれども、まあ、そういうオーバーツーリズムってバリだけじゃなくて、本当にいろんなところで世界中で起こっていることですけども、まあ、そういう状況に対して、まあ、消費主義のね、コンシューマリズムの話も、ウィラさんからありましたけど、そうではない関わり方というものも含めて、まあ、そういう再生とか、まあ、現地の活動に関わっていくっていうこととか、まあ、そういうことも含めて新たな観光の形っていうものを、まあ、開かれようとしているのが、まあ、結構、ファイブピラーさんだったりもするので、今回のフィールドワークでもそういうところの、まあ、フューチャーオブツーリズムみたいなところとかも結構いろいろ議論したりとか見ていけるかなと思います。はい。じゃあ、ちょっとブレイクアウトしましょうかね。いいですか、タクトさん。
はい。お願いします。ブレイクアウト何分ぐらいしましょうか。
10分ぐらい ?10
ぐらいですかね。
分ぐらいかな。
はい。
はい。じゃあ、よいしょ。少しブレイクアウトルームにありますので、日本語で話していただいて、多分日本人同士が多いかなと思うんで、英語ね、で結構会話続いてたと思うんで、まあ、それぞれ感じたことでもいいですし、まあ、ちょっとここ分からなかったから他の人に聞いてみようかなとかでもいいかもしれないですし、それぞれちょっと、お時間過ごしていただけたらと思います。よいしょ。じゃあ、ブレイクアウトルームの方、飛ばしますので、はい。で、また戻ってきて全体の話したらと思います。今、招待を送りました。So, Wira san, we're gonna move to breakout session. So, yeah, people are kind of disappearing on the screen. They're going to breakout session. Thank you, thank you. 皆さんもお帰りなさい。今、ブレイクアウトのセッションで、どうしてこんな、土着のその知恵が、残っているのかっていうような話をしてたんですけど、まあ、一方で失われているっていうようなね、危機感とかの話も聞きながら、また後でちょっと話してもらおうと思いますけど、そう。はい。よかったら、ブレイクアウトで、あった話とか、ね、もうちょっと聞きたいこととか、また伺えたらと思いますが、タクトさん、一回フィールドワークの内容のシェアだけしちゃいましょうか。お時間もあると思うんで。
そうですね。はい。
So, Wira-san, so now we are kind of moving to the introduction of fieldwork at this point. Yeah, and then after that, we are coming back to the dialogue again.
Okay. So can I share it now?
No, I mean, Taku-san is gonna share about the fieldwork.
Okay. Please.
Yeah, maybe you're gonna share in Japanese. じゃあ、ちょっと日本語で、お時間もあれなので、今のフィールドワークですね、の、準備している ところをちょっとシェアさせていただきます。で、今回日程的には5月24日の金曜日から、27日の月曜日です。はい。で、割とですね、で、特に北バリっていうお話がありましたけども、北バリのエリアと、あとはウブド、っていうエリアになります。で、そこで、3泊4日ですね、のプログラムを今、構成しているというようなところになります。で、問題意識としては先ほどずっとお話しているような、この考えのシステムみたいな、このスバックと言われているような、この伝統的なこのコモンズみたいなお話であったりとか、あとはずっと議論しているこの鳥下からな、だったりとか、あとはそういうバリ哲学ですね、の部分です。で、これちょっと前置きられなんですけど、まだこれちょっとページを準備していて、もうすぐ出せると思うんですけども、ちょっと一旦そういう前提で見ていただけると。で一方で、最後の方に話し合ったような、環境破壊、そういった、取り組みみたいなところを見ていこうかなというふうに思っています。で、プログラムとしてはですね、事前セッションを、オンライン、させていただきながら、それが5月10日に今、やっているので、このあたりで、旅路の、そのプログラム内容だったりとか、のところの話をしたいので、5月24日です。空港について、この、バリの今の環境問題の状況に関する、お話だったりとか、あとは、ウィラに、この、入り口のところの、あとはこのケチャックという、これ本当にバリの、哲学とか、身体的にこう、理解する上ですごくいい、伝統舞踊みたいなものがあるんですけども、そのあたりのところの体験。2日目はですね、話したスバックシステムですね。で、今回は、ディビジョン大学がバリの大きな大学になるんですけども、そこの、教授ですね、の方を、今お招きしていて、スバックのシステムに関して、お話をしていただくというような内容を予定しています。先ほどあったような、プトゥーバワさんですね。バリのその水管理の取り組みだったりとか、あとは、マングローブの再生されているバワさんも、もっとローカルな、エリアに入っていって、地元の漁業やってらっしゃる方だったりとか、本当ローカルの方との対話っていうのも、していけたらなというふうに、思っています。で、3日目に関しては、北バリですね、北部のところ、先ほどグントゥーさんというお話があったと思いますが、そこで伝統的な哲学とか、本当に暮らしのレベルで、のところの出会っていくというか、いうような、ことで、北の方に、赴いてですね、ここでも海の方に例えばボートで出て、で、森からの連関みたいなことを体感したりとか、ですと。で、ここはキャンプのステイということで夜予定しています。で、最後は、いわゆる現代文明との開口みたいなところで、電波サールっていう、南の方のエリアあるんですけども、ここで今すごいゴミの、問題が出ていて、バリ中からこのゴミが集まっているというような状況があるんですけど、それがいろんな深刻な環境被害を、もたらしているということで、一応最後これを、見てですね、いろいろある中でその現実にこうフェイスしていくみたいなところを考えています。で、これで終了ということで、今予定しております。で、最後、フォローアップのセッションで、これ終わってから日本に戻ってからも結構その日々の暮らしとかの対比の中でいろいろこう、気づきがあるんじゃないかなというところで、今日みたいな感じで、フォローアップでセッションができたらいいかなというふうに、思っております。ですね。はい。あと、それは断続的に、オンラインで、ちょっと日程とかはまだ決めてないんですけども、その後もですね、何かそういったプログラムでできないかなというふうに、思います。はい。ですので、これが、もうちょっとで、ここのページをですね、オープンしますので、そこの費用面だったりとか、のところも、ちょっとまた見ていただいて、ぜひ、今回の話とすごく、やっぱり行ってみると全く違う感覚というか、より今回も身体性のすごい大事で、現地に行って感じることがすごいあると思うので、そこを見ていただきながら、今回話のところをより深めていけたらなというふうに思っております。はい。じゃあ、やすさん何か他に 言っておきたいこととかありますか？
特に大丈夫です。
はい。じゃあ、はい。私の方からこちらの説明はしていきます。はい。
タクトさん、ありがとうございます。はい、もう少ししたら、ページを公開できると思うので、はい、ぜひそちら改めて、見ていただいて、はい、ぜひね、現地にご一緒にできければと思います。はい。なんで、もし、なんかフィールドワークのことでちょっと聞きたいこととか質問とか、もしあったら、1回セッション9時で締めますけど、その後もうちょっと質問とかフィールドワークのことであったら、受け付けたいなと思うので、もし聞きたい方いたら、残ってください。はい。So, Wira-san, thank you so much again for joining us today. And then, time is coming. And then, as your talk was so beautiful, and then I enjoyed so much. And then, so we are maybe now getting into the closing. And then in your talk, you talked a lot about kind of indigenous wisdom, kind of like nature connection, or maybe including kind of ecological crisis, what is happening in Bali as well. But as we talked during the Bali session, I'm pretty much interested in how or why you were kind of able to keep kind of indigenous wisdom or this kind of connection so alive even today, even though, like you say, some of course losing, and then so you need to protect. But and then he also mentioned, talked to the kids, children learn this kind of like culture or kind of concept in elementary school. And then Tomomi-san also wrote a chat about the talk about like flower and the non-energy that you talked just after the breakout session. So like at the last of the session, I'd love you to ask how really you face kind of this world today. I mean, experience a lot of things in Bali, of course. And how do you think about the kind of role or kind of mission in our generation? Of course, like with a strong connection with ancestors. But if you have any kind of like vision or you have a kind of perspectives or kind of pray for the future, or maybe kind of message to us to the audience, would be love to hear about it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, so actually, what I'm sharing, I think there are lots of relationship and connection between some of our, philosophy and belief. It's just about the way how we express it is differently, using symbolization, using ritual, using ceremony, and of course, like let's say in general, as a human being, you are part of nature, and when you give something to the nature will give back to you. It's that kind of the concept. Of course, how we express it in Bali, in Japan, maybe a different way, but the essence is there. Of course, nowadays, I think we just shared earlier about when the modernization coming, when consumerism are impacted us, when we need more than enough, I think there is a big changing. For example, right now we already experience like climate change and lots of those, situation is already happening in the world. So back then, which is in my island in Bali, we already got a really big change since modernization era. That's why one of my biggest movement here is about, of course, education. How we really educate ourselves to understand first what we need to do, right or wrong. Because, when we have lack of education, we don't know what to do, right? We just do it because, it's important, things like that. But, like how we can really, not just about thinking about the problem, because the problem will always there. There will be so many problems with just thinking about problem, but what we can do better to make sure the environment not worse, and also the people are still there and things like that. So that's why Bali, we still keep our culture because it's needed, because it's also, it's our pride. And when we keep our culture, we also keep ourselves, things like that. And my biggest message to most of you here, of course, there are lots of, cover, but the point is actually just the same thing. So that's why whenever you may come to another people culture, I think like I come to Japan and learn about culture, it's about, that's our ancestor give to us on uh, enjoy this life, because beyond that, there are emptiness, there are things that we need to achieve in this life. Is like at the end of the day is emptiness, there's nothing. So that's why for us here, for me even personally, one of the biggest message is just enjoy the life. But of course, now the word is enjoy the life with positive impact. So that's why, I hope that, we can meet with each other. And of course, thank you so much for Yasu and Takuto for, having this session.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Tak-san, you may have some comment maybe?
Sorry, did you taught me?
Yeah, I thought you have some comment at the end maybe.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I think what the philosophy in Bali is what we really need in a modern society at this moment, and it has a lot of I think hint in to think about the future. So I would like a really I think it will be a great opportunity of this feedback today. Yeah.
ありがとうございます。Thank you, Wira san. And ご参加いただいた皆さんもありがとうございます。一応9時までなので、一度締めたいと思いますが、本当にね、今日お話もあったような、そういうその自然とのつながり、ネイチャーコネクションっていうのもそうだし、ウィラさんもね、要は、Nature Giving Back Us Back っていう、私たちがどういうふうに自然と共に生きて関わっていくかっていうので、自然はそれを返してくれるっていう、そういう相互のダンスみたいなところをすごく感じて、アイダラボで扱っているような、二元論を超えた人か自然かっていう切り分けたところではない世界が、今もすごく息づいているというか、そういう感じがしてて、で、ブレイクアウトに戻ってきたら少しフラワーとの話してたと思うんですけど、私、あるところで、バリでね、道行く人たちが、花を見たときに、その花が、ユニバースとのつながり、コネクションがあるっていうことで、接するっていうようなことが、今でも普通にされているっていうね、ただのその辺の道端で、一輪の咲く花に、そういう出会い方っていうか、関わり方というか、を、特別なことではなくしてるっていうような話も、今、そうなのって言ったら、そうだっていう話もあったんです。もちろん、ウィズダムとして失われつつある部分とか守っていかなきゃいけない部分もすごいたくさんあるんだけど、そういうのが息づいて生きているっていうことが、すごく本当に学ぶことがたくさんあるし、日本にももちろんそうなわけですけど、そこのことをみんなで一緒に学びに行きつつ、僕らの日本のね、こともシェアしながら、お互いにバリの皆さんと学び合えるような、そういう時間になると、フィールドワークいいなと思っているので、ぜひ、ホームページがね、公開できたらちょっと、もう少しで公開できると思うので、またお送りしますけど、はい、ぜひ、ご一緒いただけたらと思います。はい。それでは、一旦ここで、締めてですね、もし、ウィラさんへのメッセージとかコメントとかもあったら、感想とかもあったら、チャットとか送っていただけたら、お届けしますけど、はい、一旦締めたいと思います。So, Wira-san, thank you so much again. So, we are closing now. And then, it was so beautiful. And then, Yeah, I hope like many of participants feel a lot of things from your talk. And then many of them will meet you in Bali, I hope. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see you in Bali, everyone.
Yeah, see you in Bali. Yeah, thank you so much. 本当にありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
スクスマ、スクスマ。またスクスマ。はい。ありがとうございます。フィールドワークのこともうちょっと聞きたい方とか質問とかあったら残ってください。はい。じゃあ本当にありがとうございます。